Hi guys, welcome to George Reads once again. I hope you're having a great time stuck at home watching this right now. But last time in chapter 6, Jimbo and Charlie, they ran into a strange man at Captain Chicken, and he was wearing a brass wristband on his wrist, and he said something about the watchers and saying if they're watching them and about whether or not they're dangerous. So this is the chapter on from that, chapter 7. So without further ado, let's start the show. Chapter 7, Raspberry Pavlova. I got into the lift. An elderly lady stepped in behind me with 2 bags of shopping. Was she a watcher? Was she going to stop the lift and attack me with a luminous finger? I bent my knees a little, trying to see whether she was wearing a brass wristband. She gave me a worried look and left the lift at high speed when it reached her floor. Were Pierce and Cade watchers? Were there more of them? And why were they watching? I got out and sprinted down the corridor, found my key, fumbled it in the lock, ran inside and slammed the door behind me. "Are you all right, Jimbo?" asked Mum, holding a little orange watering can. "No," I said. "No, I'm not all right." "What's the problem?" She put the watering can down on the phone table. I stared at her. What could I possibly say? I didn't want to end up talking with the police. I didn't want to end up talking to the headmistress. I didn't want to end up talking to a doctor. Mum gave me a hug. "Hey, you could tell me. You know that." I mumbled a bit. "Have you done something bad?" she asked. "Or has someone done something bad to you?" She was very good at this kind of thing. "A tiny bit of the first thing," I said, "but mostly the second." "Well, tell me about the second thing. That's the important one." I mumbled again. "Is someone bullying you?" "Yes," I thought. That was a pretty good description. I nodded. "Do you want me to talk to one of your teachers?" asked Mum. I shook my head. She ruffled my hair. "They do it because they're weak. You know that, don't you? Bullies are cowards at heart. They only feel safe whenever people are frightened of them." She took a hold of my shoulders and looked down at me. "And if you need me or Dad to come into school, just say the word, all right?" "Thanks," I replied. "Hey, Jimbo," said Dad, sticking his head out the kitchen door. "Come and help me decide on the menu for tomorrow night. I need something to follow the salmon, moose, and duck. It's going to be a real spectacular." I flipped through 500 recipes for beginners, plumped for the raspberry pavlova, then went and knocked on Becky's bedroom door. I had to talk to someone. I had to talk to someone immediately. And I had to talk to someone who wasn't going to blab to the headmistress or the police or the nearest mental hospital. Unfortunately, the only available person in that category was my sister. She wasn't an ideal choice, but I was at the end of my tether. If the only thing she said was, "That's awful," or "Don't worry, it might make me feel a bit better." "Yeah," she said. I pushed the door open and stepped inside. "Becky," I said, sitting down on the bed, "I've got to talk to you." "What about?" she asked grumpily, staring into the mirror and applying her black eyeliner. "This is going to sound really stupid. That's pretty much part of the course," she said, finishing off her eyes and starting to backcomb her hair. "So, why don't you just get it over with?" "I'm in trouble." "Going to chuck you out of school, are they?" She laughed. "Shut up and listen," I snapped. Something in my voice persuaded her that I was serious. She put her comb down and turned to face me. "I'm all ears, baby brother. You know Mr. Pearson, Miss Pearson, Mr. Kidd? I've been at the school 8 years, Jimbo." Okay, I apologized. "Well, I took a deep breath. "They're out to get me and Charlie. They speak this strange language when no one is around. They've got these brass wristbands that send messages to their heads." I was gabbing, but I couldn't stop myself. "And they're called the Watchers. At least, I think they're called the Watchers. Or the Watchers might be someone else. And we were spying on them. And this really weird guy sat down next to us in Captain Chicken. And he told us to stop spying on them. And his finger glowed and he sliced through the table with it." I ground to a halt. Becky was looking at me as if I had a tap-dancing hamster on the top of my head. Becky, I stammered. "I know it sounds unbelievable, but it's true. Cross my heart." She stared at me for a few seconds, then said slowly, "I don't know what you're up to, Jim. I know I was having you on about getting expelled and all that. It was a joke, okay? And you deserved it. But I'm not going to fall for this guff just so you could get your own back. Drop it, all right? You're cross with me? Fine. I apologise. End of story. She picked up her lipstick and turned back to the mirror. I didn't even try to sleep. I waited until everyone else had retired to bed. Then I crept out of my room, made myself a cheddar cheese and strawberry jam sandwich, and sat down in front of the TV and discovered that the DVD player was broken. I watched the highlights of the World Chess Championship. I watched an Open University program on diseases in pigs. I watched the first 15 minutes of a scratchy black and white film called Son of Dracula. But I had switched off the TV when he crawled down the castle wall and turned into a bat. I turned on the radio. I played 4 games of Patience. I played myself at Scrabble. I did the easy crossword in the paper. At 7:30 in the morning, Dad sauntered down to the kitchen in his dressing gown, did a double take and said, "Goodness me, Jumbo, you're up bright and early for a change. Full of the joys of life, eh? Can't wait to get started on the day?" And with that, he began to rustle up a breakfast of fresh coffee, grapefruit slices, croissants, blueberry conserve, and wild mushroom omelette. Only when Mum and Becky both emerged from the bedrooms did I finally feel safe enough to sleep. I went through into the living room, lay down on the sofa, and passed into a coma. Mum woke me up 7 hours later, saying that Charlie was on the phone, wanting to speak to me urgently. I sat up and waited for a few seconds, until I could remember who I was and where I was and what day it was. I got to my feet and stumbled out into the hall. "Jimbo?" he said. I grunted. "Charlie?" Yeah, it's me. Listen." "Yep." "I need you over here, ASAP." "What's the time?" I asked. "5:30. Get your skates on. Dad solved the puzzle. You remember? Kursk?" "So what does it mean?" "I'll tell you when you get up here," said Charlie. I looked up. Mum was standing further down the hall, wagging her finger at me. Behind her, Dad was slaving over a hot stove. "Sorry, Charlie," I said. "Just remembered. It's Dad's big meal tonight. It's spectacular." "Jimbo," he insisted. "This is important." I know, I apologized. "This meal means a lot to him. Can't it wait?" "Geez, Jimbo, I thought we were..." He chimed off. "Okay, school tomorrow. We'll talk then." "Course." The phone clicked off. Dinner started with salmon mousse on a bed of green salad with homemade upcakes. This was followed by duck l'orange with roast potatoes and honey-glazed carrots. For dessert, we had the raspberry pavlova I suggested. The food was fantastically good. And because Dad was in such an exceptionally good mood, he let me have a glass of wine. For an hour or so, I managed to persuade myself that the encounter in Captain Chicken was a figment of my imagination. I didn't think about Mrs. Pierce or Mr. Kidd. I didn't think about the attics or burned plastic. I was with my family, and I love my family. Except Becky. I hated Becky. But hating my sister was normal. I felt ordinary and safe. And thanks to all these things, I went to bed at 10 and slept like a log. And that's the end of chapter 7. That was a surprisingly short chapter. I didn't remember it being so short, but thank you guys for watching so much. And if you enjoy the video, make sure you watch the next night, chapter 9 of Boom. So thank you for watching and goodbye.